Hey there, everybody. This is Nathan Lund, and now here we are for episode 2 of the Hour of Nick Show. This is going to be my 1-hour podcast series where we discuss a variety of topics, mostly about video games, but it can still be about anything. Movies, entertainment, even just current goings on in life, etc. And for the second episode, we're going to be talking about some video game movies. And as for my participants in this episode of the podcast, we got my friend Mark and Astro, Montana.
Hello, everybody.
How's it going, people?
So yeah, this should definitely be a pretty interesting episode, I must say. You know, it seems like video game movies, especially in the wake of the Mario and Sonic movies, which, spoiler alert, probably will be the movies we talk about the most in this episode by far. It definitely seems like they've kind of seen like an uptick in popularity in recent years, and I gotta say, I couldn't be happier about it. And obviously, you know, it's not just like, you know, one broad stroke. Obviously, I'm not, you know, we don't have to talk about video game movies just purely based on video games, but you know, even stuff like Wreck-It Ralph in the past, Pixels, you know, movies that were kind of, you know, video game inspired, they can definitely, you know, be discussed here as well. But either way, that kind of leads into the first thing I want to discuss, which is, of course, the history of video game movies, because, well, they've been around for quite a while. Honestly, probably as long as video games themselves have been around. Did either of you two watch any of them growing up?
Well, I watched I won't show my age, but I watched the first Mario Bros. Movie, like the old one, the original one. And it was not good.
Yeah, the 90s one. Yuck.
Yeah, I haven't seen the full original Mario Brothers movie actually, but I definitely seen some bits and pieces of it, and I gotta say, you know, like, what the heck were they thinking with that? I mean, I'm sure it probably wasn't like a horrible movie like in concept at the time, but even still, just having like actors for that movie instead of like, you know, like an actual like animated, you know, Mario Brothers movie at the time was like, you know, it's like, what the hell, man?
Yeah, like that 90s Super Mario Brothers film looked nothing like the game it was supposed to be based off of.
Yeah, like, I feel like they kind of rushed that just to advertise the games.
Yeah, it definitely didn't feel like it was like organic or like, you know, especially well thought out, that particular movie. But of course, you know, there's also been other video game stuff throughout the years. Like I said, we touched upon the original Mario movie, but I think there was like a Sonic the Hedgehog movie from 1999, which I have not seen, but I have actually heard some fairly decent things about. There's also been a Mortal Kombat movie, which I actually have seen. It wasn't that bad, and I believe a movie for a couple other series as well. So in terms of like the history of video game movies, you know, it's been around for quite a while, but I definitely think in recent years with you know, obviously the live action Sonic the Hedgehog movies and the Mario movie that came out, plus the second one that's about to come out in a few years. I think we're kind of seeing the industry like at its absolute peak, and honestly, I couldn't be happier for it. Especially because I think both the new Mario movie plus all three of the Sonic the Hedgehog live action movies are just awesome for sure.
I would say that it started with
Yeah, they're apparently coming out with a Minecraft movie in like April or something, which I'm gonna say right now, I am not seeing it.
Yeah,
I have no interest in Minecraft either. But I'll be honest with you, I think I can start with the Detective Pikachu because that movie got some good reviews like in like 2017, and that's when video game movies really started getting better in quality.
Yeah, I've not. I honestly forgot about that one. I've not seen Detective Pikachu personally, but I definitely have heard some good things about it. And even though it's like technically not like really a video game movie, because obviously, you know, it's the characters in it and stuff are fictional, and it's like based off an arcade. I still really say that I've always really loved Wreck-It Ralph as well from the moment that movie came out. The original one, not really so much the second one, but the first one, I definitely think is one of the best movies Disney has released in like the past 20 years for sure.
Yeah, Disney just really like, I don't go off on a tangent, but Disney seems like it's really like hit and misses in recent years. Especially with the live 3D.
Yeah, they definitely aren't really as great as they used to be back in the day, which is definitely a shame too. But either way, like I said, in general, I'd say when it comes to the history of video game movies, I would say probably like the best ones are obviously like the new Mario and Sonic movies, but I also really do enjoy Wreck-It Ralph a lot as well. And even though I'm not much of a Pokemon guy, I'm sure Detective Pikachu definitely is a movie of pretty high quality as well.
Yeah, I've seen that movie because I'm a Pokemon person, but I've seen that movie and it's really pretty good. Like, it's amazing character fans, but like that goes for like most of video game movies in general. Like, I know they try to have a wide appeal, but you go to a Sonic movie, you're mostly a Sonic fan. You go to a Mario movie, you're mostly a Mario fan. So, but I'm glad they play into that though, because when they try to like broaden out their scope, they lose all sight of what made the brand so special.
Exactly. I definitely think it's important for video game movies to at least, try to remain as loyal to like the source material as possible. Because yeah, obviously, not all video games are going to appeal to everybody in the world out there. That's kind of obvious, especially when you have a series that's kind of like appealing to like a niche sort of people, like a niche group. But even still, if you're going to do that, definitely at least try to make sure the movies are like as faithful and loyal to the video games as possible. That's at least my personal take on that.
Yeah, I'm just glad they started to do that because I feel like the first Sonic movie was trying to stretch itself too thin, if you know what I'm saying. Like trying to appeal to both casual, the Sonic fan base and like normal people who don't care for Sonic. But then Sonic 2 and 3, they really like started to go out into the Sonic franchise. That's when it's really started getting good.
Yeah, for sure. I probably have to agree with that to an extent. I mean, I do like even the first Sonic movie, but even then, I definitely will admit that I think 2 and 3 are way better. And speaking of which, that's actually a perfect segue into my second topic, which of course is going to be a general discussion of the Sonic movies in general, because like I said, those I think in general are like some of the best video game movies out there, and honestly, I really do got to say, I think they really have been doing a great job with the Sonic movie trilogy so far in general, especially 2 and 3.
Yeah, I feel like 2 was like they're really starting to hit their stride, and 3 they just knocked it out of the park. Especially with a lot of them won't spoil it so much just because people still haven't seen it yet. But as I say, the Sonic and Shadow Fight were just something else.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for those who've not seen that movie yet, I won't really try to spoil it too much either. But I will definitely say that if you're a fan of a certain if you're a fan of a certain 3D Sonic game, especially because certain plot points of the Sonic 3 are definitely like heavily based on it, I definitely think you'll love Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie Sonic the Hedgehog 3, because it really does draw a lot of inspiration from that game and really the 3D Sonic games in general. And so I definitely think that was like a nice way to pay tribute to it as well.
But speaking of the Sonic movies, I know it's not a movie, but it's more of a spin-off. But like they were doing so good with 2 and 3. What happened to the Knuckles show, though?
Ooh, you know what? That's a good question. I don't really know.
Yeah, that's on Paramount Plus, I think.
Yeah, I think it's on Paramount Plus. Uh, as far as that, I mean, I think that's just kind of like its own thing. I imagine like they're probably just gonna be doing some certain stuff unique to Knuckles with that show. But either way, I definitely do think it's pretty cool, and it shows how successful the Sonic movies have been to the fact that they even are like getting like additional spin-offs for some of these extra characters as well.
And I actually like. So it was a bit of a funny bit that I think I saw like on one of the ads on Pluto TV for something where I forget. I think it was the second Sonic movie that they were playing an ad for or whatever. And I think there's one point where Sonic goes like, "For a guy named Knuckles, you are really bad at punching."
Yeah, I mean honestly, the Knuckles character in the Sonic movies it definitely does kind of have like his. I definitely do think the character of Knuckles in the Sonic movies definitely is a bit brain dead at times, but also it's kind of what's lovable about him too. About him too. The fact that he can definitely be occasionally an idiot, but at the same time, generally trying to be useful to the group, and I think just generally like a well-written character. I definitely do think it helps him out quite a bit.
toned down like the beginning of 2020. They kind of toned down the dumbness of Knuckles. So you remember in the 2010s, they treated Knuckles like a complete idiot.
Yeah.
So they started to reverse that now.
I mean, I feel like they've kind of been doing that even for a while. I mean, even in Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 and 1 especially, he definitely did have his own pretty dumb moments in those games as well. I think that kind of is like kind of like a part of his character, but the trick, at least for me, is to like make it funny and like make it at least like a relatable kind of stupid, not necessarily just kind of like a forced kind of stupid. And I feel like they've definitely done a good job with that in these Sonic movies, like basically making it so that the stupidity with Knuckles is always like somewhat relatable and not just feels like it's forced on us. Like, ha ha ha, he's so stupid.
Yeah, kind of like the Boom Knuckles, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Him like really stupid.
Yeah. And I definitely do think that Tails' character in the Sonic movies is good as well. I think he's pretty much shown to be as good of a sidekick in these movies as he is in the games. And overall, I'd say even for Sonic's character, they've got down his general cockiness and confidence down pretty well too. In terms of like the character development for his movies, I really wouldn't change much. It's definitely a little bit exaggerated at times, but in a good way, I think.
Yeah, the Tails bias in saying this to me, but I kind of wish to get Tails more screen time because Knuckles guys don't show. Obviously, Sonic's the star of the movies, but like I feel like Tails should get at least more screen time, like more development, at least in the movies anyway.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. I mean, I think Knuckles is even better, but I really do like Tails as well. And I think Tails definitely is a character that I think could easily also deserve his own show as well because he definitely does have a lot of interesting things about him.
Yeah, I feel like they could like really double Tails' character, like him growing up as a kid, like do it on his own without Sonic, or even just about his adventures. I feel like they could make a good, at least a little side content like they did with Knuckles show.
Yeah, and I kind of am excited to see, what they'll do with the fourth Sonic movie as well, because for people who have not seen the movie yet, there is like a post-credit scene in that movie, and it does kind of reveal a couple new characters that will be in Sonic the Hedgehog 4, and let me just say, I definitely am kind of excited to see what they do with both of them. I think they both are kind of characters that, have played a pretty nice and major role and throughout Sonic's history. And so seeing them in the next Sonic movie, I think definitely will be a nice touch for sure.
Yeah, it'd be real interesting to see what they do with those characters. I won't name the names of them, but I say they're kind of fan favorites to some degree.
Yeah, I know one of them in particular is beloved by another member of this community, Armand 2017 in particular. But either way, it definitely is kind of interesting for sure.
I'm just excited to see how they gonna keep doing it because I heard rumors that what's his name again, Jim Carrey wasn't gonna do Eggman anymore, but I heard he might do the fourth one. Who knows if Eggman just if he does decide to come back as the character, but we don't know yet.
Yeah, I guess we'll wait and see on that front. Hopefully he does do it for at least one more movie though, because I do got to say I think he really does make a great Eggman.
Yeah, I really don't care for the actor that much, but I will say he does fit the role of Eggman pretty good.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm kind of mixed on Jim Carrey movies in general. There's definitely some movies where he's really good and then others not so much. But I think for Eggman, he's like a perfect fit.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure Sega or whoever else who developed the movie would at least try to get him back. If not, I hope they get a really suitable replacement.
Yeah, same here. It's definitely got to be someone that can match his level of wackiness.
Or just bring that same energy, that same vibe he brings. At least to the character, that is.
Yep. Now, like I said, I did mention earlier that I also really do love the Mario movie that came out in 2023 as well, and that will be the next topic of discussion is the Mario movie from that year because, like I said, I definitely do think they did a great job with that. I will admit that that movie probably will not really appeal to many people outside of those who aren't like big Mario fans or whatever. But I still think overall it was just a lot of fun to watch.
Okay, so I have a lot of thoughts on this movie. I've seen this a lot more than I've seen the Sonic movies. The Mario movie, I'm kind of perplexed on, to be honest, because as a Mario fan, I love it, obviously, but even on my first watch, I noticed some flaws. I'll start with one. The references got to a point where they just feel forced.
Yeah, I can definitely agree. Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. There definitely are some parts of the movie that that kind of feel they don't really need to be there. And what's really weird to me is that even though I really do like Chris Pratt in general, I definitely feel like he kind of does make a bit of an awkward Mario at times, and it's really noticeable too because a lot of the other characters in that movie, a lot of the other actors pretty much have them nailed down. Like Jack Black, for example, I think is like an absolutely amazing Bowser, and I love the way he betrays him. So Chris Pratt kind of really does stick out like a sore thumb in that way, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'll be honest. He probably gave the weakest performance out of the main cast.
Yeah.
But, he just didn't have that much. Explain it, but like he didn't feel like Mario.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna out right now. Like in my opinion, that movie was like they really did that movie right. Actually using the proper source material that it's supposed to be based off of, not like the '90s version.
No, I definitely agree with that. They definitely did this movie justice. I'm pretty sure Nintendo was breathing down their neck to make sure they get this one right.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And that's like I think like really the big thing that I think still makes it really good is the fact that it still is incredibly faithful and just an amazing representation of the video games for sure. Like in terms of like like the movie like actually actually trying to borrow source and inspiration from it. The Mario games versus just trying to like feel forced. It definitely does feel like it truly is like a love letter to fans in a lot of ways, rather than just a movie that it was like is like a clear cash grab. And that is definitely something that I can't say about a lot of other movies made by Illumination.
And that one sequence they had in that movie where they're racing in the carts on Rainbow Road, that's pretty epic.
Yeah,
I like that scene.
Yeah, it really is. I'd say that's probably like one of my favorite parts of the movie. Actually, is that the whole is the Mario Kart scene, and of course I don't think you can talk about the Mario movie at all without mentioning the Peaches song. Oh God, the Peaches song. That became such a huge meme on the internet for like the first few months after that movie came out, and honestly, I can't say I blame anyone. It is such a hilarious and just overall wonderfully composed song to the point where it's like it's no wonder that like it kind of became like the talk of the internet for a while.
Yeah, that was a pretty good song. But it's just kind of funny how everybody just memed it to heck and back.
Yep.
Oh yeah, the Peach song, which thankfully I'm gonna spare you. I'm not gonna start singing it.
Yeah, hey, don't.
Oh my God.
Yeah, don't worry, Mark. I'm not a good singer either, so you don't have to worry about me judging you. But either way, yeah, overall, though, the Peaches song, I'd definitely say was also still like one of the highlights of the movie. And of course, I definitely do think in general the movie also set it up pretty well for the sequel as well. Like, I definitely am excited to see what's going to be in the sequel. I think just like in Sonic 3, they kind of hinted at like another character that's going to be like in the second movie, and I definitely am kind of excited to see what direction they'll go with it for sure.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go back to the points I want to make out besides my thoughts on the movie. I have two more points I want to point out that I find like was kind of unnecessary, and I don't think Craig Kong should have been in the movie at all. To be honest, I feel like Donkey Kong could have been fine just by himself. I feel like Crank was just I don't know. I didn't feel like he was just shoehorned in for fan service. I don't think he was really necessary though.
I mean, yeah, I can.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I was gonna say I can definitely kind of agree with that. It really does feel like in general like Cranky Kong was kind of like a last minute addition. Like they didn't really like initially plan him for the movie, but that like they kind of put him in there to be like, hey, look, I know you guys are really big Mario fans, so here's a little bit of fan service to you by featuring some Cranky Kong. I definitely feel that part of the movie definitely could have been fleshed out a lot more for sure.
Yeah. And I have one more point I want to bring out. Now, I completely love the movie. I really do. This part in particular, I really cannot stand. Like, I had to watch it a few times. It really got on my nerves. It's the beef between Mario and Donkey Kong, especially when they're in the fish. And it basically leads to nothing. And then at the end of the movie, they're just automatically friends. That part was not, like, fleshed out at all. I feel like that was just a first draft, to be honest. I hate to be that crude, but, like, how do you go from fighting and then just automatically become friends out of nowhere?
Yeah, I definitely do think that they should have done a lot more with that particular plot point because it definitely does kind of feel forced. Them going from them being like bitter enemies. At that point to just like suddenly becoming like these massive friends. It's like like what happened in between all that to suddenly make them like each other. That definitely kind of feels like a bit of a plot hole for sure, in my opinion.
Yeah, but other than that, though, I really enjoy it. It's one of those movies where you have to, like, shut off your brain and just, like, if you're a Marvel fan, just enjoy it, enjoy the scenery or the scenes. It's just like you put too much thought into it, and then you see all the problems. I think it's like I said, it's like it's pure more the Mario fans and video game fans in general. Because I don't know if the general audience will care so much about this. Like, if you play, like, say, Mario brings little Timmy, who doesn't know anything about Mario, to this movie, what do you think? Will he sit down and actually enjoy it?
That is a good point, Dan. Honestly, I definitely do think that's pretty questionable. Like, yeah, there definitely is still some enjoyable parts in the movie overall, and I'm sure definitely even people who aren't fans of Mario could definitely still get a kick out of some parts, like the aforementioned Peaches song. But overall, I definitely will still say that I feel like you really had to be a Mario fan in order to appreciate a lot of the aspects of the Mario movie for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. You had to, like, especially to get a lot of the references, because some of the references were, like, pretty obvious, while some of them were, like, really obscure. Particularly when you go around with a Toad Town, and you see all those little Easter eggs inside the window. Like, you see a Yoshi Dragon coin from Super Mario World. How many people would get that?
I know, right? It definitely it definitely does. Like I said, feel like it was a movie designed specifically for Mario movies, and that's fine. That's really all the movie needed to be. But even then, it's like at that point, would you really enjoy the movie if you aren't too familiar with Mario? Don't really know too much.
And this is what I'm kind of worried about for the future, because, like, even though as fans of Mario, it's something we enjoy, when it comes to, like, business, all they care about is profits. So, like, if they don't see it, like, if they don't put like a wide enough audience to them, they might change it to where, like, it'll try to appeal to everybody, and then it'll appeal to no one. So that's my biggest fear going to the future movies. I hope they make a good enough profit to where they don't have to do that. But yeah, it's something I have on the back of my mind right now.
We'll definitely have to see what happens in that regard. All right. For the next bit of this podcast, I do want to talk at least a little bit about kind of like the reputation of video game movies in general, because really up until recent years, I kind of feel like a lot of movies based on video games kind of have like the same reputation as video games based on movies, where for the most part, a lot of people just kind of felt like they were like rushed, quick cash grabs, not really that well in general. Obviously, not all video games based on movies are bad. I mean, heck, we even just talked about movies based on video games are bad. Heck, we even just talked about some of the good ones, but there definitely have been, I guess, a few stinkers in a bunch as well. And it definitely does kind of seem like in recent years that stigma is only just recently beginning to change.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad it did, because for the longest time, video games was taking, this video games in general was taking that as a joke. Especially if you grew up in the 90s, like me, like a lot of video games were like victimized or blamed for one thing or another, whether it be something violent or just something like kids misbehaving. And then the movies did not help it at all, considering how low quality they were.
Yeah.
I'm just glad now we're at a point where video games are actually being more respected, more accepted, and the movies are definitely helping out with that regard.
For sure. It does kind of feel like in recent years, like they finally are actually making efforts to, like really make the movies based on video games like special, make them actually feel like they, represent the point of the games and are not just like made for like quick bucks or to like basically just to appeal to like a very very small niche audience, but like literally nobody else.
Yeah, because even though I wasn't alive in the '80s, I have a sister who was, and she would tell me all the time about how like a lot of these TV shows and a lot of movies were basically just advertisements for toys, pretty much. And I'm glad we don't have that time anymore, because like I mean, like nobody really like when you think about it, kids these days don't really play with toys anymore, so they didn't have no reason to advertise that much. I know you still got to think about merchandise like plushes and stuff like that, but making it specifically for certain toys, I'm glad they don't do that no more, because now they can focus more on quality.
Yeah, exactly. And like you said, for the longest time, it really hasn't been until like I'd say like probably like the past decade or so where video games have kind of finally become like a like an accepted part of like normal modern day everyday culture because like back in the day, there were like a lot of people that kind of had like a lot of the misperception about not just video games, but like gamers in general. Whether it was about them being violent, whether it was about them just being like like stupid losers, whether about them just being just not the best people in general. Video games in general have not had have not really had the greatest reputation outside the people that have played them for quite a while. And when you release low quality video game movies that are clearly just made to to make money off the brand. It certainly does not help matters with that at all. I think back to stuff like I think from what I've heard, stuff like the Resident Evil movie wasn't really that good. There were like a couple other obvious video game movies back in the day that or movies that were similar to video games back in the day that were huge bombs like Pixels. So it's like I definitely am glad to see that like these companies are finally starting to make actual effort with these movies for sure.
Oh, you just brought like a bad flashback now, Nick. Because like I know it's not technically a video game, but they have plenty of video games. Remember the Dragon Ball Evolution movie?
Oh yeah, I think I do remember that actually to a certain extent. Yeah, I do remember seeing that on all the controversy around that.
Yeah, they completely butchered every single character from that franchise, and I'm like, yeah, I hope they don't. Alone. Let's leave it alone. Let's leave it to the animators. Don't even touch it in live action.
Yeah, that would definitely not be a good idea at all. So, overall, I'd say when it comes to the reputation of video game movies, that it seems to have gotten a lot better in recent years, and I can only be thankful for that.
Yeah, the Uncharted movie that I saw, I think like a couple years ago or something, like I thought that was pretty good. Now, granted, I'm not exactly like the biggest fan of that franchise, but I have like at the very least tried out like a couple of the games from that, and like they're not bad, but not really something that I'm a huge fan of. So
Well, that's perfectly fine. It's obviously uh, not all movies based on video games are gonna exactly you know uh, be based off of video games we exactly like. But in general, I think what matters most is just like how well they're done, and like how well they're written and stuff like that.
yeah, like because I know for a fact, and like just like the three Sonic movies that we've had so far, they've all been like very well written.
Yeah, that they have, and I feel like they're only getting better. Hopefully that trend will continue with Sonic 4.
Yeah, I just hope they don't milk it too much to where people start getting irritated with it. Like just like I did with Marvel Cinematic Universe, like how they just threw that to the ground and then that people are the stick of it.
Yeah,
I hope it doesn't come to that trend. Like after the next one, I think they should probably take a little break, do work on side projects, something like that.
Yeah,
Just so they don't like drag to the ground.
I agree.
Because the next one, I think, because I think from what I remember from the closing, from the post-credit scene for Sonic 3, there's another certain character that's that's supposed to debut in the film version of the franchise in the next one.
Well, like I said, I think there's two, but either way, like you guys said, I definitely do hope that they don't, just like over milking and like overhype it, because definitely for sure if they abuse the shit out of the Sonic movie franchise, it's gonna lose a lot of respect, and frankly, we don't need that. But that also kind of brings me into another topic, which is just kind of like the future of video game movies in general, as in just kind of like what do you think will happen with the future of this kind of movie, and what video game movies in general would you like to see? I definitely could think of some quiet, interesting ideas for video game movies they could do in the future. Some are definitely a lot more realistic than others. Like for example, I would definitely really love a movie based on like like I don't know, like Wario specifically, for instance, but how that's gonna happen. But then there's others like that could potentially be really cool in the future, like I don't know, like a Kirby movie, for example. There definitely is some interesting ideas out there that I think can make some future great video game movies.
Yeah, as long as the interest is there, then I think that they can succeed with that as long as the interest is there. I mean, I know there's supposed to be a live action Zelda coming out. I think not next year. I don't think. I think like 2027. I think or something is when the Zelda one's coming out. That one looks like it'll probably be pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I would love to see a Zelda movie because with all the history and lore that franchise has, I feel like they have enough material to make a really good movie.
Yeah, same here. You can never do quite a lot with a Zelda movie plot in general. I definitely feel like the Zelda franchise has like tons of potential for like really gripping stories that that can go like really super in depth and just like basically kind of create like a captivating movie to remember for like generations. If there's like any opportunity to make like a video game movie that would expand like seriously like massively beyond just like the core franchise of the video games, I definitely feel like Zelda could be like the perfect franchise to do just that.
Yeah, I actually I just thought of something that I think could possibly work as a video game movie, assuming the interest is there, of course. But maybe do one based off the character that pretty much saved us PlayStation's bacon last year, Astrobot.
You know what? Actually, I would not mind to see something like that. I don't know if a movie like that is very realistic, but honestly, if something like that were to happen, I would definitely go watch it for sure.
Yeah. Because like I said, like Astrobot pretty much saved PlayStation's bacon last year.
Yeah, it really did, and I definitely do feel like it pretty much was the game that basically finally got a lot of people to move over to PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
But overall, like in terms of potential other franchises that I think could potentially make for some cool movies, I think honestly, I could definitely see like a Star Fox movie working pretty well. I'd even like to see maybe even like something like F-Zero. Really just in general. Yeah, go ahead.
Star Fox would be pretty cool because then we get to hear a film version of the ever popular do a barrel roll.
Yep. That could happen.
Yeah, the infamous Star Fox 64 quote.
Yep. And like I said, I definitely do feel like there's kind of like a bunch of untapped potential in terms of being able to make stories out of video games that come to the big screen for sure. So hopefully they can take some of those ideas and eventually make them fleshed out in the future. Like you said, obviously the upcoming Zelda movie looks pretty cool, and who really knows what they got in store for the future in terms of other video game genres. I'm sure with the success of the Mario movie and even like with Sega's success of the Sonic movies, I'm sure a lot of companies definitely are kind of thinking a lot more seriously hard about like what other kind of franchise they can make into like seriously huge video game movie franchises. Or at least I hope that's the case. But yeah, I think that basically pretty much covers all the main topics I wanted to discuss. So I guess now we could just do little bit more of general discussion. So overall, I definitely do think in general, video game movies, especially in recent years, that have become pretty fascinating. You know, it's definitely one of those things that I think for the longest time people did not really give more than like a small bit of thought to. But I definitely feel the culture in that is changing in that regard. And honestly, thank goodness, because as someone who has loved video games basically all my life, it is good to see the genre get some more love in other more subtle ways.
Oh yeah, and I know when the Mario movie sequel comes out next year, April 2026, I think they said. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing that.
Same here. I definitely probably will make that like a day one watch for me, or at least maybe like a day two or three. I definitely love Mario enough to where I will make sure to go see the movie pretty much almost like right away after it comes out.
Yeah.
And obviously, I'll do the same for Sonic the Hedgehog 4 when that gets released. I probably will make an effort to see the Zelda movie as well, because even though I'm not really the biggest Zelda fan, I definitely do admit that the games are still in general like objectively like really really good. And like I said, I could definitely see like the Zelda movies like probably having like the most like amount of love and care put into them compared to like a lot of other video game franchises.
I can let I I'm gonna throw this out there right now. Once the Zelda movie comes out, that is gonna make a lot of money for Nintendo.
Oh, I think so. I definitely feel like it's going to be like one of those things that Nintendo could really make a whole lot out of if they, get a lot of cash from it. And honestly, I would hope that'd be for the best too. I would love to see them basically kind of have like two or three great movie franchises going on like the same time.
Yeah.
Oh, that actually reminds me. That kind of gave me an idea for like another potentially, great movie series they could do. I kind of have heard rumors about this, but I'm not sure if it'll ever actually come into fruition. But like honestly, even just like a Smash Brothers movie, I think in general would be really cool as well. Like a movie based like the Smash Brothers games, that'd be awesome.
Yes. Like, yeah, you like a movie based off Smash Brothers. Like people would flip their lids.
Yep. Who knows? Honestly, that might not even be such like a bad tie into like the next Smash Brothers video game, depending on when that comes out. Because obviously with the Switch 2 releasing pretty soon and stuff like that, I'm sure the demand for a new Smash game is probably going to start rising like very fast. And so who knows if Nintendo really wants to ensure extra profit from that game, maybe wouldn't be such a bad idea to consider working on a movie that comes out like not too long after it.
And from what I've heard, I mean, obviously I won't know for sure until this is actually officially announced by Nintendo. But the 3D Mario that's going to be coming out on the new Switch, it wouldn't. I think more than likely there'll probably be some like worlds or stages that are based off the Mario movie.
I could definitely see that for sure. I could definitely see them kind of like basically doing like, especially depending like how successful the movies are. I can definitely kind of see them like taking some elements or even just like inspiration from the movies and like using them for like certain parts of their video games. But yeah, I think that's probably gonna do it for this episode of the podcast. It was definitely a bit of a shorter one, just because of the fact that honestly, I kind of feel like we were able to get through most of the big things pretty fast. But either way, I still definitely enjoyed this a lot. I definitely think it's, like I said, it's a nice little thing to discuss for sure. I love video games and video game movies in general. Probably always will. And I hope you guys enjoyed watching this as well.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun once again, Nick.
Yep, no problem. And I definitely cannot wait to do more episodes of this as always in the future. So, yeah, guys, take care for now. I'll see you guys all for episode 3 sometime next month.